Hi, tonight we're going to practice a little extension of what we did in class today. I had you write a persuasive paragraph this afternoon with little instruction about how to do so. You should have some background knowledge on that because you have done that in prior years of schooling. But tonight we're going to look at sample text and practice identifying an author's argument and claims, or the main point the author is trying to make and the reasons that the author uses to support that argument. First of all, on my homepage on the 8th grade tab, if you want to rewatch that funny YouTube video we watched about the little boy persuading his mom to eat cupcakes for dinner, that is linked here. First thing I'm going to do is take a look with you at this article here. This is called Please Finally End the Penny. This was written by David Owen, who is a staff writer for the New Yorker. So we're going to take a look at this article together, and we are going to try to identify what exactly it is that David Owen is arguing or trying to persuade his readers, and then why, his specific reasons or claims why. So this article is a good way, shows you a good way to help identify the author's argument. One of the things that you want to do is first look at the title of the article. Please finally end the penny. That's a pretty good indicator to us what he's arguing, and probably he's going to be arguing why he thinks we no longer need the penny in our society. Several articles, most articles also will have subtitles that you can see that will give you a hint, or pictures or captions. You want to look at all of those things ahead of time before even reading, and you probably will have a pretty good idea of what the article is about. So we're going to read through this article together. As I read, just kind of be thinking about what it is he's arguing and why he's arguing that. So, Canada is eliminating pennies, and good riddance. The United States should do the same. Pennies have virtually no buying power, yet they cost a lot to make, distribute, and use, and many consumers simply throw them away. Picking up a penny from a sidewalk and putting it in your pocket pays less than the federal minimum wage if you take more than 4.9 seconds to do it. The U.S. Army stopped using pennies on its bases in Europe in 1980 to spare itself the cost of shipping them overseas. In 1996, the Government Accounting Office determined that most of the millions of shiny new pennies that leave the U.S. Mint each year simply disappear. What's the point? A quarter today has less buying power than a U.S. penny did in 1940. Canada isn't the only country to eliminate its least valuable coinage. New Zealand stopped making 1 cent and 2 cent coins in 1989, and it got rid of 5 cent coins in 2006. It also replaced $1 and $2 bills with coins in 1991 and shrunk its 20 cent and 50 cent coins which had been hubcap size, in 2006. This may sound un-American, but it isn't. The United States abandoned its own most worthless coin, the half cent, in 1857, when a half cent was worth more than a dime is today. By most measures, a quarter today has less buying power than a U.S. penny did in 1940. That means that consumers in 1940 got by without the equivalent of almost all the pocket change we now lug around. Counting out pennies slows retail transactions and forces merchants to bear the cost of handling, sorting, and redeeming excess accumulations. We'd be better off without them. The American penny's only real defenders are politicians from Abraham Lincoln's home state, which is the only one in which you can still use pennies and toll machines, charities that conduct penny drives, the lobby that represents the company that sells zinc penny blanks to the U.S. Mint, the company that makes those coin-changing machines you see in grocery stores, and people who want everything to always be the way it is right now. But special interests should not be allowed to stand in the way of rationality. Pennies are a drain on the American economy. Enough. Okay, so I picked a pretty simple article, not very long. You are going to be choosing your own article here in a little bit and bringing it to class with you tomorrow so that you can do what I'm about to do here. And that is identify the author's main argument and maybe 2 or 3 claims or reasons you see the author giving. So if we take a look at this article, we already decided ahead of time that probably he was arguing that we don't need the penny, and it is clearly evident now that we have read it. Yes, that is probably his main article. So I'm just going to go ahead and go down here, and I'm going to type, I don't remember it, the author, or you could say his name, David Owen, argues that we no longer need the penny in our economy. Okay, that's his main argument. Now, we need to figure out what are some reasons he's making. So you're going to kind of go back and skim through the article and see if you can pinpoint a few of his reasons. Right away here in the beginning paragraph, he mentions some reasons. Pennies have virtually no buying power. In other words, we can't really buy anything with a penny. Yet they cost a lot to make, distribute, and use, and many consumers simply throw them away. So I would say we've got some reasons right there. Let's go ahead and number those. 1, no buying power. Can't buy anything with them. He goes on to elaborate that a little bit. The second thing he said, they cost a lot to make and distribute and use. And many consumers simply throw them away. Let's say many people throw them away. I don't think I've ever, well, I probably have thrown a penny away before now that I think about it. So if we keep looking, he goes on and explains a little bit more about, down here he talks about the buying power. You know, he's elaborating on his point he made up here. Less buying power than a penny did, a quarter today has less buying power than a penny did in 1940. He does talk up here about the U.S. Army stopping using pennies in 1980 on its bases. He spends a whole paragraph talking about Canada and New Zealand and other countries. So I think that's another point he's trying to make, is that we know we can do it because other countries have done it. And he says it's not un-American because we have gotten rid of some of our own coinage before. So, you know, here he's elaborating on that point down here. Other countries have done it. Here he was elaborating on this no buying power. He doesn't really elaborate on the costs a lot to make. He doesn't really tell us how much it costs to make them. So that might not be one of his strongest points, even though he mentions it. He does have a whole paragraph down here about the defenders of the penny, and he's kind of in a nice way saying that there aren't really any good reasons why. The people who want them are only in it for their own special interest. The people, you know, the company who makes those coin-changing machines, or the company that sells the zinc, of course, they don't want to get rid of pennies because that's how they make their money. But he says, but special interests should not be allowed to stand in the way of rationality. In other words, those people aren't even being rational. So I'm going to write that down here too. No strong defenders. Okay, so after reading that article, you know, it's a good idea to preview it first, look at the title and the subtitles, things like that, captions and photos, kind of get an idea of what you're going to be reading. Read it through one time, keeping in mind as you read, what is this author arguing and how. Then skim back through and identify author's main argument here and the claims or the reasons here. Okay, that is what your task is going to be tomorrow in class. Tonight you're going to choose your article. So if we go here on my home page, right under the video there's a button called Room for Debate. If you click on that, and actually I should have done that. I already have it open. Click here. It's going to bring up this document like this. This Room for Debate is a New York Times site about controversial topics. I have already gone through and chosen some topics that I think you guys would be interested in, and I have linked those here. Save you a bunch of time. So you can see, like, should kids go to sleepaway camp, to tip or not to tip? Let's say you're interested in basketball. Raise the rim. That sounds like an interesting topic. If you click that link, it'll take you, the computer's going to be slow, it's going to take you to the page in a minute. Each of these issues has several articles that go with it from authors on both sides of the issue. What's the deal here? There we go. Computer's a little slow. But so it's not going to take you to one article. It's going to take you to kind of a landing page with several articles, and then you're going to choose one of those. Once you choose your article, I want you to download it into Notability so you can save it on your iPad. And I want you to just read through it a couple times tonight and be familiar with it. You do not yet have to identify the author's argument and claims like I just did. You'll be doing that in your small groups tomorrow, but you do need to come prepared with your article chosen and downloaded. So here's the issue, the landing page. Should the basketball rim be raised? Tells you a little bit about it over here, what the issue is. You can see this article, or this issue has 7 articles. You don't have to read all 7. You can kind of just look even at the titles and determine which side they're on. This one says higher basket and a better gain. So obviously this person thinks, yeah, I think we should raise the rim. It would make the gain better. This guy says the adjustment would be painful. So probably not in favor of it. 11-foot rims would save the sport. Raise it up. The rim is fine the way it is. Don't raise it. So let's just say you click on one of these articles. Once you get it open, I would read through it first and make sure you understand it and like it before you download it. But then go ahead and once you choose one, download it and come to class tomorrow with that. Okay, and I think that's all I have for you tonight. I think we'll have a lot of fun tomorrow looking at these articles in small groups.